ABC News suspended Terry Moran, the moron on their news channel, says he shouldn't have made a bad post about Trump. And we read this yesterday, and we saw that it was pretty aggressive from a journalist. Here's Terry Moran. He wrote this: "The things about Stephen Miller is not that he is the brains behind Trumpism." We're big fans of Stephen Miller here. Says, yes, he is one of the people who conceptualizes the impulse is of the Trumpist movement and translates them into policy. But that's not what's interesting about Miller. It's not brains, it's bile. Miller is a man who is richly endowed with the capacity for hatred. He's a world-class hater. And there was more to that statement. So that statement is actually, that has been deleted, but he got in trouble for that. They said, ABC News said, you can't say that stuff. He actually went on and attacked Trump in the aftermath of that too. He said he eats his hate. There's the rest of the statement. He said, you can see this just by looking at him, because you can see his hatreds are his spiritual nourishment, which is wild for the Democrats to say that as they sacrifice their babies by the millions. He eats his hate. Trump is a world-class hater, but his hatred is only a means to an end, and that end is his own glorification. That's his spiritual nourishment. All right, the reason I wanted to read that is because I read it. I'm like, this guy thought like he was like a poet or something. He wrote this, wow, this is so poetic. I have to share this on X right now. And all of my lib friends are gonna love it. But it's almost like he thinks it's like poetry, like a very good observation or something. It's bloviated writing. It's not even that interesting. He's not even saying anything. He's a world-class hater? What does that even mean? You can see this just by looking at him? We can see it in your face there, bro. You got those crazy eyes, kind of like Jenna Griswold. And you can see the contortions of the darkness in your face. The White House immediately denounced the comments, with J.D. Vance calling them an absolutely vile smear. How dare you? ABC should apologize to Stephen, said Vance on X. What Terry posted is disgraceful. Now, and moments before the suspension was reported, the White House ramped up the pressure on ABC News. You got to punish this dude. In an interview on Fox News Sunday, Caroline Leavitt called on the network to take action. She said, hopefully, this journalist will either be suspended or terminated, and that should happen right now. Here's Caroline.
Put a post out about the details of the big, beautiful bill, and he was attacked by one of the reporters apparently on ABC. I saw your tweet about it, and you say last night in a since deleted post, journalist Terry Moran went on a rampage against Stephen Miller. What happened, Caroline?
ABC is going to have to answer for what their, again, journalist put out on Twitter in the wee hours of the night, calling Stephen Miller vile. They said that President Trump is a world-class hater.
It was in the wee hours of the night. I was wondering, maybe he was on Ambien or something. Maybe took a little too many sleeping pills and just hit that post button.
And this is, again, coming from someone who is supposed to be an unbiased and professional journalist. This is unacceptable and unhinged rhetoric coming from someone who works at a major television network. We have reached out to ABC. They have said they will be taking action, so we will see what they do. But I think this speaks to the...
That was before we learned that he got suspended, but I think it's going to be suspension with pay.
Distrust that the American public have in the legacy media, and it's why in the White House press shop and in President Trump's White House, we have made so many significant and much needed changes to press access and transparency at the White House. We've invited in new media. We have shaken up the White House press pool, and we also just won a major victory over the Associated Press, who thought that they had a constitutional right to walk into the Oval Office or to fly on Air Force One, and a judge said no. In fact, those are privileged spaces that belong to the President of the United States, and this is a great ruling for democracy. We fought them in court and we won, and so we will continue to keep or hold journalists accountable. All we're asking for is truth and transparency. That's it.
Of course. And
that would be nice to get it, and we would expect it from our media, but they're not giving it to us.